Okay, great. So that's yeah, and touching on that, I think you're right. I think you just have to go out there and do it. We have a question coming in from a group in Honduras, Unitech in Honduras at Unitech_HN, and they ask, how did you use your setbacks to push your company forward?
It is a very good question, and it goes back to the own personal goals and trying to be balanced. I think it's so. First of all, I think you shouldn't look at them as setbacks. It's a change of mindset. They're learnings, and think of yourself as this empty cup that you're filling, and then every time you're doing something, you're actually filling up the cup more and more, and you want to make sure that you keep on filling. And that cup is endless. It's not like a cup that has a limit. It's going to keep on filling and filling, and you need to do that. And in this world, day and age, with the technology rapidly changing and all sorts of different things happening, it's very hard to keep up. So you want to keep on moving, and learn from what you're doing, and keep pushing forward. But practically speaking, how I learned my first failure from the first company, Mach 3, where we kind of all got fired, is in fact I came very close friends with most of the founders. One of the founders, they became my co-founder in my second company. The idea, what I understood, and the insight was that, so the main issue there is what is that we set out to build this amazing technology in the product, but we spent so much time over engineering it. Only if we do this, it will be better. Well, let's do that. Let's do this. Let's do that. Like a typical engineer, really making sure that the product is perfect. That we forgot to actually talk to the customer and see what they wanted and how much they would pay for it and all of that. So that iterative process was not something that we included in our first company, and so that was before this whole lean methodology phenomenon was launched. But still, so that's a big learning that I take forward with me, and I really cherish. During my Miami days, one of the biggest failures was to not have that peripheral vision, to be very just focused. So we did this company, and we said we're going to be a search engine. We're gonna own the user's attention in Arabic online when we want to think about information. But then we actually forgot that we had this amazing technology in the background that could be utilized for many different applications. In fact, today our business model has nothing to do with our initial application. Our initial application was typing using phonetic languages. And right now our business model is around selling this linguistics platform to banks, to airport security, to all kinds of companies that really care about the linguistics and the intelligence that you can extract from the technology that we built. So having that peripheral vision is very important. And the way we actually kind of stumbled upon it, and something that I learned later on, is we had some of our product opened up so that people can come jump on it and use some of our APIs free of charge to build their own tools. And one of the companies actually built something that eventually inspired us to do our business model. They used that for elections in Lebanon, as they wanted to go on the figure out where the electoral vote is. They would put their first and last name, and the tool would actually expand their first and then last name and all the variations that they could be spelled into in English, find the database, and then tell them where to go to. So that peripheral vision approach is something that I learned a lot from my second experience at Yami. So it's always about keep moving forward, but using these setbacks as a learning mechanism to move forward.
I love that. I love, not looking at it as a setback, but actually, actually saying like, okay, like what can I learn from this? And looking at it as an opportunity. And I think, at least in my work that I've done around the world with global entrepreneurs, I think the most successful ones or do exactly what you talked about. They're the ones that don't necessarily consider challenges to be roadblocks, but say like, okay, so what are the opportunities? And I love that vision that you just laid out about the vision. So it's not focused head down, but it's head up and move forward. So that's great.
In fact, in emerging markets, Amira, you find, and you know this quite well, you find a lot of companies, as they build their own core models, they start building peripheral companies around them. So for example, Souk.com, which is the Amazon of the Middle East, they initially started by building an e-commerce platform, but then they figured out there's a big challenge in payments. So rather than say, oh, it's a setback, like I'm not going to be able to actually figure it out, they built a solution to fix payments using the scratch card kind of that you buy in a grocery store, and then eventually this become its own company, pay for it. Also a big substantial company. They also built their own logistics platform because last mile delivery was not as efficient. So as an entrepreneur, you always have to take challenges and build something out of them. If you've watched the movie Matrix, there's at some point where when they throw things at you and you have to do this like move and then the bullets come right next to you. This is kind of an entrepreneur. You have to like dodge the bullets, but you have to do it graciously and kind of come back from it and learn and move forward.
Yeah. And I'm glad that you brought up Souk and the different Souk.com is one of the highest valued companies in the Middle East. And they recognize kind of what their limitations are and working to overcome them. And one of our Twitter viewers, Arnold Jean-Pierre, he has a question about what he asks you, what do you think, Habib, is the most significant obstacle Middle Eastern entrepreneurs face?
If I want to pick one, it's scaling across borders, because you have 22 countries with borders, and to do business from one country to the next, it's tough. You have to set up new infrastructure from scratch again. No, not always from complete scratch, but from close to scratch. So it's how can you enter new markets? So that's the biggest challenge. And so the challenge becomes on your sales, your business strategy, your business development strategy, your partnership strategy, as you break down like your scalability. I think fundraising is an issue, but it's getting solved because you have more and more funds right now, and you have international investors also putting in some money. The talent is an issue, but there's always solutions around that. You can really build up your talent from scratch, and it's going to take you more time, but you also bring loyalty with your team, and you bring a family together. But scalability is the main issue. And so far, some companies have been doing them on their own, like Souk, for example, has done it the tough way, and initially rode on the wave of Aramex, but eventually started doing it their own way. Aramex is kind of the DHL of the Middle East. And then as they do that, you also, there's the flip side of that is, as you do that, you also are building very long competitive walls, because it's very hard for others to come and compete with you because it took you so long to get to go to other markets. Now, you could do it the tough way, the hard way, or you could do it a slightly easier way, which is find someone you can ride the wave of. So let's say you are, again, example of Souk and Aramex, but also example of, let's say you're in a fintech company and work with a bank that has branches all across the Middle East, or let's say you're a loyalty program and you work with a mall operator across various countries. So it's really about finding your way into to scale. So scalability and access to markets, that's the toughest part I see in emerging markets, in the Middle East at least.
Okay, and so I think related to scalability, we actually have a question from a viewer who, and the viewer asks, do you have any advice on how to approach larger companies you wish to partner with to help your startup?
Yeah, so I think large companies are this crazy, weird beast that's not very, that are not, you don't find, there's not two companies that are the same. Each company is different. And the reason, this is why. So let's talk very quickly first about the situation of large companies as it comes to innovation in small companies. Large companies historically have not really played too much in that space. Very few have played in that space. In the past five years or so, they're realizing how fast the business model are changing and technology and how fast they're getting disrupted. Obviously, the example of Kodak is the infamous example that keeps repeated, but there's many more examples like that. So then companies said, we want to start doing innovation. We want to get more innovative. Some of them decided, well, let's actually switch. We have a head of business development of some unit. Let's make them head of our innovation unit. And then from wearing a suit, this guy goes or girl goes and wear jeans and jacket, and they think they are innovative and they think they're cool, but they're actually just using old techniques under a new package. So then others have tried to actually start up a startup program where you can partner with them. Some of those are just at the PR level and they're not very deep, so they're just enough for them to write a press release and say we have something independent that doesn't talk to our core company. So we have this company and we have the small thingy on the side, the CSR that you can operate with, but if you can't work with us, actually, it's just there. We give you mentorship and access to space and whatever. And then the third category is actually where they really believe in it and they're trying to embrace it. So GE is one of those examples where they're doing a lot in that space, investing, partnering with startups, really opening up their doors and building platforms for that. So when you first understand the other party and you put them into kind of different buckets, then you know how to address them. Because you want to address them, again, you always want to think what the other side cares about, and you want to understand where you enter. Because as a large company, there's so many doors to enter, and you want to knock on the right door. You want to find the right champion, because that champion will help you navigate kind of the weird world of and the bureaucracy and the processes. And this champion, eventually, you want to build a strong personal relationship with, because that champion eventually will tell you where to waste your time, what not to waste your time, and give you the heads up on stuff happening. So number one is find your champion within a company. Number two is also make sure that whatever you propose really is aligned with what the company's KPIs and goals are. So always ask, what are your KPIs? Like, what's your strategy with engaging with startups? What if we were to work together? What does it mean? What does it mean for us for this to become successful? And then also think about trying to understand the kind of where eventually you're going to lead. Again, as I mentioned, there's 3 buckets. Are you going to lead into the core business, or are you going to get stuck into this PR bucket, or are you going to be actually be able to get integrated with them? And then lastly, I think your first corporate customer is going to be the toughest. But once you find that, once you're able to kind of unlock the door on that, and you have to focus on one, then the other doors will unlock much easier. Then you figure it out. Then you become more of a peer trying to enter the door, rather than this small startup trying to figure out how to navigate that maze.
Okay, great. We've got a question from Mohammed, and Mohammed asks, how do you expand your company from the Middle East to outside the MENA region? Is it hard as it seems? And he's particularly concerned with the cultural differences.
Yeah, so there's a bunch of startups that I was invested in and on the board of that did that. And first of all, you have to decide if it makes sense to expand or not. Sometimes it might not make sense. So if you have the right talent in the Middle East, if you have the right team, the culture, you might just want to expand the business front-facing office, and you don't want to expand your whole operation. So there's this company called Cardio Diagnostic, for example, in Lebanon, that produces this highly accurate sensors for the heart. And all of the technology is built in the north of Lebanon, a place called Tripoli, and they only expanded their sales and front office in the US, where they're actually able to go and sell and talk with hospitals and kind of have that kind of credible presence, if you want, in the US. Other companies have moved completely. There's this company called InstaBeat that I'm also on the board of. That's a wearable for swimmers, and you put it on your goggles as you swim. It gives you your heart rate. They were trying to build it from scratch in the Middle East, but they couldn't find all the right partners and talent, especially with a specific experience in hardware and in particular case of some electronics. So they decided actually to move all of the company to Silicon Valley, where they were able to get partners. But then this is one category. But then so one is keep your kitchen wherever you are, expand your front office. And the other option is move altogether to wherever your biggest market is. And the last thing, again, I want to stress on is think about if it makes sense or not to expand internationally, into which markets. Some markets are easier than others. If you talk about some of the similarities of culture, at least from a user perspective, consumer perspective, we can think about Middle East, North Africa, Southeast Asia, Turkey, Africa in general. So you have to think about where are users facing the same challenges. And again, I'll end with one last point is if you build